again, I'm concentrating today primarily on how does the image look overall? How do you want to present it? The tools are there to make it that way, not get hung up on, oh, does that tool go down in this? In fact, I've gotten into a number of discussions with some people recently that they said, well, there's a much more sophisticated way. I personally am not drawn to the most sophisticated way. I want the way that I can produce the end result. If the only way is a very sophisticated way, great. But if I have an easier way, that doesn't matter to me. I just want to get the image. Let me bring this one up because I want to talk about this in relation to the image. How do you see this image in the sense of, is it well done? Is it good? Is it a good image? Give me your thoughts on this image.
I really like it.
Anyone else?
I think it could be spectacular. It's so graphic.
I think it's a very good graphic. And you see how all the lines are leading you to this subject.
Yeah.
Look at all of these. And it's very creative. And this is called a high key image, meaning very high tones, very bright tones. And look how well the photographer has handled the very bright areas, which are white with no pixels in them, but then compared to the lighter areas, which are not blown out, but have wonderful detail and subtlety within there. And I think this black area really works really well of pointing you in. So this part is heavier on the left and pushes you into this character. And this curve on the top brings you back down. I think it's extremely well done.
I really like
Just
it.
wanted you to think about high key versus just the way we see 90% of our images. I think this is wonderful.
John, don't you think the lines lead you out of that? And wouldn't you crop it about an inch or inch and a half from the right?
Yes, you could do that. Good point. Let's crop it a bit because they do take me out a bit. This way, it enforces even more that the person is the end result of the leaning lines and you don't need to go any farther to the right. Good one.
So nice.
Okay, let's have a little fun. First of all, before I say let's have a little fun on this, tell me what you think about this image in relation to composition. Tell me about composition first. What's one of the problems?
All of it's at the bottom.
The very left, two figures to the lighthouse. I would take those two figures on the left out.
Yes, that's one. Yes, that's one aspect. What about the bottom? Does that feel, and I truly mean the word feel, does that feel good to you?
No.
I just think there's too much negative space at the top, John.
Yeah,
That's one
I
aspect.
like the line
Yes.
at the bottom.
yeah, the top bothers me.
you know,
Yes,
just
it's not in
way-
balance. Yes,
Should it-
good.
Should it be just a vertical image and not horizontal?
Could be, but before we go there,
I don't
even
understand
take
what the
out
bottom
the-
is trying to show.
let me take out these characters here. See if I can do that. Let me take this one off here.
It's a lot of negative space.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, but before we do more than that, here it is, guys. Edit,
Sky replacement.
sky replacement. Watch this. Watch this.
Too cool.
Let's do this one just because it's here. Watch.
Oh, yeah.
Watch. Just, I'm going to show you a number of them, but it's coming in. Watch how easy this is. I clicked on sky replacement. Come on, come on, come on.
Is it choosing the one that shows you first?
Yeah, yes,
Yes.
it does. Yes, it does. If you want to change
at
it,
that.
you've got to click on them.
Wow.
Wow.
Hardly did anything to do
Becomes a
that.
Subject in this now.
Now watch, I'll pick another sky. How about this one?
Hmm,
Not as good. Let's come down to this one.
it's not dramatic.
How about that one?
That one I like.
That's very good, isn't it? Let's pick this one. Look how easy this is. You're just
Love it.
clicking on skies and saying, oh, let me see what that looks like.
That's good.
That's good also, isn't it?
Mhm.
That's the one I really
Ah,
like. I
that's
really
right.
like.
Oh,
those
that's
five.
That's the best. Yeah.
And I like those two. They're my favorites.
John, where did you find sky replacement?
Under edit.
Let me do it
Oh,
again.
it- Okay.
Let me do it again for you because this is so much fun. I got so hung up on doing this stuff last night that I forgot about the time. What am I
Yeah.
doing? Okay, here it is. Here's the image. And go to edit, down here, sky replacement. And then over here, this little drop down, wait, it's bringing them all in.
John, are these skies you shot or are these?
No, these are provided by Photoshop at this point. There are a limited number of them, but these are all from Photoshop. And when you click this little down arrow, it brings up all the various skies that they've provided for you. And all you need to do is click on one of them. And it puts it in there. You can scroll down a little more, pick another one.
John,
Yes.
with the new rule that all of the elements of a photograph need to be made by you, is it okay to use one of these skies for something you're going to enter into an exhibit?
Well, I'm going to answer that in a yes and no. The no is you now need to look at the very specific rules of an exhibit or a competition. And those rules, I think, will start to change because of software packages like Luminar, or now these features in Photoshop. So and the way I would argue it is, what is the difference of my using the dodge and burn tool on an image as compared to just coming in here and clicking on something that Photoshop is doing for me? I'm using now a tool, and I like the word that I got from Robert Glenn Ketchum, when he was here from California. He said, when we did our black and whites and we did a lot of things prior to digital, we worked in the wet darkroom. He says, today we work in the dry darkroom. So Ansel Adams and I did also, and a lot of black and white photography, film, and I did all kinds of things in the darkroom, and you change and you put skies in just like we're doing now. And the end result was the most important thing. Now we're getting tools in the dry darkroom that really adds to that image. So is it yours? Is it not yours? So I think there will always be that issue that comes up. Now for me and for you, the skies have been so beautiful recently. Photograph some of the skies and put them into a folder. So they are your skies. And you can then add them to this feature. You can add more presets to these sky things. And so you could be actually putting your sky in them. But I think overall, what we can do in what's called the dry dark room will start to change some of the aspects of competitions. I think that's also the case with making composites, artistic composites. And I told you one of the future classes would be that, because there is a website called Pixabay, and I want to go there in a minute, but I wanted to show you this aspect of this image first. Let me finish this and then I'll show you that. And one of the aspects down here of this replace the sky is put it to a new layer. So when you click yes, you see in the layers palette, it actually has create a grouping. And that grouping has the sky with a mask created for it, another
Wow.
aspect for that. So it has everything in here related to controlling that sky, which means you also can change some things on it after the fact. We'll get into that, but let's not go, let's take one step at a time. And the first step is how easy it is to just put a sky in an image. Very easy. So
There's some other adjustments on there too below. If you click off the skies, there's adjustments for the foreground, the background, all kinds of
Yes.
stuff. It's
yes,
really
lots.
amazing.
I will send you some links to YouTube that you can watch and see how many more things you can do on this sky. It's unbelievable what Photoshop has done here. Just
Going to the about the point you made, John, about the exhibits, I think they specify some of them if all the elements should be yours or you can use other elements. So one competition separated in two. One, all your elements are yours, and the other one you could use different elements, so you can apply to either one depending on how your image is.
Mhm, mhm.
John,
Okay.
if you could go back to that photo again. The
Yeah.
lighthouse just appears to be floating there. There's no structure underneath it.
Yes.
Is there any way to bring out the pier that it's on?
No, there isn't on this image, but it's a good point in the sense of if you are photographing this kind of thing, then make sure you are doing that. And in fact, I would have wanted a little more, I would have wanted the ability, I shouldn't say a little more. First of all, I would like a little more underneath it. Let me show you that to you. And for me, because I am so concerned about something to see even in the shadow areas. And someone said to me recently, well, it's a silhouette. If you have a silhouette, yes, and I do agree with that also. A silhouette, there's no detail. You would very rarely find silhouettes in my work only because I like
Detail.
detail, even in the shadows. I just like to see details. Let me see if I can open that. See, there's absolutely no detail in that area down there. I wanted to use this image because the sky, that big bit above the image seemed out of line with the image. And geez, now with this new feature in Photoshop, what you can do with it, it's just spectacular. I really spent a lot of time last night just playing with skies. One last one, and then I want to show you Pixabay. First of all, remember, I want you to thinking through that before you start making subtle changes, think about the overall aspect of the image so that you get it into the right perspective for you to make other changes. So what would I do to this one? Maybe not what you do, but what would I do?
Flip it.
First thing is, yes, flip it. Why?
Because it's Flip It John.
Yeah, not because I said.
You can look,
What
You
is
can
working
look
now?
into-
What is working now in the composition?
You read left to right.
It's, yes, and
Yeah.
the leading line, see this rock?
Oh,
Leading you
yeah.
in. See the clouds leading you in to that image. Let me take it back the other way and see, they're leading you out.
Yes, out, right.
Now they lead you in. Now, what other things would we do, just the first few steps, to bring more three-dimensional look to it?
Haze it. Dehaze.
Dehaze?
Shadows.
Dehaze, exactly.
Yes.
You know, I really like that dreamy look.
Yes, indeed. And so we would
How do you get that?
keep that. Well, that was the light that was there at the time. And the exposure is such to keep all those things.
I can never get that. I want that.
And we might want to lighten up the foreground a little bit. I just wanted to bring more to the sky. In fact, let's go back to that. Suppose I don't want to change how beautiful that those highlights and things are at the bottom. So if
Yeah,
I
I
want to
really
do
like
just
that bottom.
the sky, what would I do?
You could select it.
Yes, indeed, I can select it. So let's select the sky. And I'll even select this little piece of the sky in here. And take that into Adobe Camera Raw.
Mhm.
And maybe not do dehaze, or maybe just do dehaze a little bit,
Haze first, yeah.
but let's darken the shadows a little bit just to bring out some of the sky. No, that's not doing it.
Take the exposure down a little bit.
Do the what?
Take the exposure down just a wee bit.
Yes, okay, good. Yes,
Go.
good. Now let's open up the shadows. Don't even need to worry. Why do we not need to worry about the shadows on the rock?
Oh, they're good over there. Just bring in a little detail.
Well, the reason is they weren't part of the selection. So even though this on the screen looks like I messed with them, I didn't, because they're not part of the selection. It's just that when I took the sky in and worked on it, looked like it was doing that, but it only really changed the sky. Watch. See, the rocks are still the same as what they were, just.
Oh, right.
Now, even still, I may want to open those a little bit. So with dodge, with midtones, just to open those up just a little bit more here. And how about the sponge tool? You think we can put a little color into it? How about that?
So.
Yeah.
I haven't used the sponge too much.
So here was open, here was the flip.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I talk about these changes in the sense of three-dimensionality. And more that I've seen a lot of images being submitted for competitions, they're flat. I call them flat. Watch how this looks, and I will call it flat. And now more three-dimensional. Do you see the three-dimensional aspect of it?
Yes.
Very important.
Very
That's how you have someone become more emotionally responsive to your image.
Can you change
Before
the
we
color
end
of the
today-
sky?
I'm sorry, say again?
Could you change the color of the sky to match somewhat the rock's reflection?
Yes.
You can now.
Well, you would really need to be putting some color in yourself. That's a little more sophisticated. So maybe in the future, I'll go into it. I was looking to see if there was some color in there, but there isn't.
I was thinking of changing the color temperature.
Let's try that. Yes, good one.
Mhm. That will work.
John, is the line too sharp on the rocks? The line between the selection and the rocks?
Yes, it is. And again, I've pulled these down from
That's nice.
just these are not my images. I pulled them off, and they're low res images, so they have some aspects that.
What would you normally do to soften that up, though?
Do something like that. You're talking about the edge of the rock?
Yes,
through here?
yes.
Yeah.
yes.
I would do something like this and then clone from the sky into it, which would sharpen them up a lot. And you can go to select, modify. So I made the selection of the sky, so I could say expand. So I can expand it by 5 pixels. That way, see, I could, or 2 pixels or 3 pixels, and then I can clone from the sky very close all along and just clean up what I wanted to clean up.
Okay, and what was that again? You went to select?
Select, modify.
Select, modify.
And you can either expand, smooth, contract.
Or feather.
I just wanted to get the sky because someone made the suggestion of making it a little warmer. So we'll take it into Adobe Camera Raw and change the temperature to a warmer look and see how that looks against. I'm so pleased you guys are thinking about different ways of looking at your image. That's wonderful.
That's
Wonderful.
3-dimensional.
But before we go, I really want to show you a member of it. You can join this free. I'm a member. And my ID is J Mariana Photography. So if you came into upic.com and you go up to search, you could key in my name. Now,
Oh, wow.
I'll scroll down and show you some of the ones I put on here. I put this on this week. There are
I
now
love that one.
1,502 views of this image
I like it.
in the past week. And I have some others down here that they've said, this one has 2,465 views. So I post something and see how people like them or not like them. But more importantly, up at the top, it says explore.
Mhm.
And when you click on explore, others who have submitted to this site, you'll see their images. Look at this one. This really looks good. Gives you wonderful ideas of composition, structure, things like this. What do you think about this waterfall, for example? If I click on it, let me bring it up to the full screen. What would I do? What would I change?
Flip it.
Direction. Mhm.
More importantly, the color of the water. It's way too blue for me.
Blue.
For me, it's way too blue. I would take some of that blue out. But look at these different, be aware, there are some
Oh, wow.
nudities. Here's what I was talking about, single color of an image, changing some of the overall color. Let me bring this one up, you see it. Very
That's
creative
nice.
aspect of doing those kinds of things. But this site gives you lots of ideas of what to look at. So that's under Explore. You have multiple tabs, inspiration, hot. These are the ones that the group of people who run this organization think these are really the hot images. And so you can just scroll down looking for things. Look at this one here, so on. This is well done. And as I'm screening through them, you see this little heart? If I press that, I'm telling that person, I really like that image. That's well done. And I think that one deserves it. So I'm coming down through these images. So these are hot ones. Not all of them are great. And some of this looks pretty good as a black and white. That's fairly nice. The other are up at the top is newest. These are in the last couple of days that have been submitted. And some are good, some are okay, but it gives you ideas. That's the thing. It gives you ideas. And then the last one, stories and things, but inspiration is one to look at. There's another one that looks pretty good. Very nice. Not jump out the screen at you, but very nice. So UPic, see it up here, youpic.com. And then at the top, I'll come back to, if I click on UPic, the name, it takes me back to where my images are. And every day they feature someone. Over here on the right, they're featuring this photographer. And if you click on that photographer, you then can scroll down and see the various ones that they've photographed. And for example, on this photographer, he's, in my opinion, he's in the early stages of creating images, nothing super special there. But when I come back to Explore and look through some of the inspirations and click on that person, then I can click on their photo and then scroll down and see other ones that they have created. So think about going there just to get inspiration.
Wow.